Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sunday Night Ghost Stories Extra. Because we are on a Wednesday. Oh my goodness me, the middle of the working week already. Where has that gone? Indeed. Right. So like I say, here we are up in the library. We've got the fire on tonight because it is absolutely perishing up here. Perils of an old house, I'm afraid. We've had adventures this week, which I'll tell you about half-time. We are still reading the excellent Haunted Places of Scotland, second edition. What are we drinking tonight? We are drinking, it's a 2-beer strategy tonight. So we're drinking Yeasty Boys. This is one of my subscription beers. Romulus Belgian Blonde. I'll just read what it says. Brewed and canned for Yeasty Boys in the UK, 3.4%, so not exactly heavy-going stuff. Ingredients: water, barley, wheat, hops, Belgian yeast. And that's pretty much it. Store cold, drink fresh. Doesn't tell us anything else about the beer, but yeah, there we go. Romulus Belgian Blonde. So we are topping up the beer glass. In fact, what do you know? We haven't even started the show yet, and already we have a dead soldier. So run, VT.
Oh, it's jolly nice of you. Hello, dead soldier. Seen plenty of those in my time.
Well, that'll be a copyright strike from Facebook. Anyway, shall we crack on? Oh, yes. Sorry, I forgot to mention. We are down to that much of the single grain Scotch whiskey from Lidl. So we'll just top up the glass here, and yep, that's it. For the second time this evening. We haven't even started the story. And run, VT.
Oh, it's jolly nice of you. Hello, dead soldier. Seen plenty of those in my time.
Thank goodness there are reinforcements in as much as we've got a brand new bottle of it. So let's crack on mit the ghost stories, shall we? Craignish Castle. Set in a fine location by the sea on the Ardfern Peninsula, Craignish Castle dates from the 16th century, although it has been altered down the years into a comfortable residence. A dungeon is carved out of the rock in the vaulted basement. Craignish was and is a property of the Campbells, and withstood a 6-week siege by Alasdair Kilcotto MacDonald in the 1640s. Near the castle is the ruinous but scenic old parish church and burial ground, which has many interesting memorials. There are stories of a green lady haunting the castle, seen walking from the building, as she had done in life, to watch helplessly the drowning of her lover, a young French officer from Montrose's army. Well, let's try some of this Belgian Blonde, shall we? The elements of beer, yeast, Yeasty Boys. So let's crack on with it, shall we? In the magnificent Rush beer glass, again, viewers Kirsten and Steve in the United States. Cheers, me beers. It's got a nice kick to it, actually. Nice taste. Right. Cramond Tower, Edinburgh. Although part of a larger castle at one time, Cramond Tower is a tall and narrow tower house with a vaulted basement. The tower has been suggested as the model for the House of Shaws in Robert Louis Stevenson's Kidnapped. Sorry, the House of Shaws in Robert Louis Stevenson's Kidnapped. Although the owners were the bishops of Dunkeld, 2 of whom died here. Among the owners were the bishops of Dunkeld, 2 of whom died here. But in 1622, the property went to John Inglis, an English merchant. His grandson abandoned the tower for Cramond House in 1680. The tower became ruinous but was restored and reoccupied in 1983. There is a story of a green lady haunting the tower. Cramond is also the site of a Roman fort, and nearby is Cramond Kirk, an interesting building dating in part from the 15th century. Wasn't Cramond Kirk the guy who ran the USS Enterprise? No, that's Captain. That's a terrible joke. Not even a joke. Yep, that'll do. Let's have another swig of the old beer. Cheers, me beers. Do you know what? Because it's an extra cold night tonight, we are going to have some bump as well. So, oh, lovely. Right. Cranshaw's Castle. Standing in a remote and picturesque part of Berwickshire in the Lammermuir Hills, Cranshaw's is a stark and solid rectangular tower house of 4 stories, dating partly from the 15th century. Cranshaw's was a property of the Swintons from 1400 to 1702, but then passed to the Douglases. The castle is reputed to have had a brownie, a supernatural being which did all manner of chores. For many years, the brownie gathered and threshed the corn without reward or comment, but then one of the servants ungratefully moaned that the corn was not neatly gathered together. The next day, the corn was found 2 miles away at Raven's Crag in the White Adder. Let's read that again. The next day, the corn was found 2 miles away at Raven's Crag in the White Adder water, and the brownie left, vowing never to return, saying, "It's nowhere mowed, it's nowhere mowed. Then it's ne'er to be moved by me again. I'll scatter it over the Raven Stane, and they'll hae some work ere it's mowed again." Oh. Brilliant, that was. Probably the best Scottish accent you'll hear this evening. To my Scots friends watching, I'm so sorry. That's a terrible reading, but hey ho. Right, more beer, more bump. Oh, oops. Slange. Oh, lovely. Cheers, me beers. Craith's Castle. Craith's Castle is an imposing and massive tower house, the lower part of which is plain, while the upper stories have a flourish of corbelling, turrets and stone decoration. The castle has many fine furnished apartments, some with magnificent original painted ceilings, including the Green Ladies' Room. There is a colourful walled garden covering nearly 4 acres. The lands were a property of the Burnets of Lees from the 14th century, and they built the castle around 1553. They held it for 400 years until 1952, when it was given into the care of the National Trust for Scotland. The horn of Lees, made of ivory and encrusted with jewels, was given to the family by Robert the Bruce in 1323 and is preserved in the High Hall. The Green Ladies' Room, a chamber on the 3rd floor of the tower, was originally a bedroom and is believed to be haunted by a green lady. So much so that it is so named. There are, however, several versions of the story accompanying the ghost. The apparition in a green dress reportedly first appeared in the 18th century and is seen crossing the chamber with a baby in its arms. The young woman seems to have been a daughter of the then laird in the story in the guidebook, a lass in his protection. She had been frolicking with a servant or was cruelly used by a retainer of the laird. Where versions do agree, however, is that the poor girl was made pregnant and had the child, although it appears that the baby at least was then murdered. A skeleton of an infant was found by workmen in a small recess under the hearthstone during renovations in the 19th century. Various other details are also added, one being that the ghost appears when a death is to occur in the Burnett family, not unusual in stories of this kind. Another, that the apparition with baby was seen by Queen Victoria. Whatever the facts, the phantom is said to have been spotted often, even in recent times, wearing a green robe and with a baby in its arms. Some visitors apparently refused to enter the room without knowing the story, while a guide felt something brush past her when there was nothing apparently there. National Trust of Scotland, Castle Part April daily, the weekends to early May, then May to June, and September to October, open Saturday to Thursday, closed Friday, July to August, daily. Grounds and Gardens, open all year, daily, blah, 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 phone number and website. So I have got to say, we are really quite chilly here tonight, despite the fact we got the fire on. You can see that the wind is coming down the chimney here. This is actually if I wanted to put a fire in there, I could. But yeah, the wind is coming down the chimney and I can feel it, the wind that is. And it's pretty cold, it's got to be said. So cheers, me beers. Oh, lovely. Slange. I think we're going to open up the other bottle of single grain tonight. Crawford Priory. Crawford Priory is an impressive Gothic mansion, begun in 1809 and added to a few years later. But the building is now a derelict and a deteriorating shell. The present mansion replaced an earlier building on the site, which dated from the mid-18th century or earlier. Crawford Priory was built for the unwed Lady Mary Crawford, who died in 1808, succeeded to the Lindsay. Crawford Priory was built for the unwed Lady Mary Crawford, who in 1808 succeeded to the Lindsay Crawford property and lands on the death of her brother, the 22nd Earl of Crawford. Mary never married, but she did have a large menagerie of animals, both pets and wild, in and around the mansion. After her death in 1833, and a splendid funeral, Crawford Priory was left unused and became derelict, although she did leave provision in her will for the animals. The mansion was then restored in the 1870s after passing to Lady Gertrude Boyle, daughter of the 6th Earl of Glasgow, and her husband Thomas Cochrane, but it is now very dilapidated again. It is said that the grounds are haunted by the bogle of Lady Mary, and her apparition has reportedly been seen on more than one occasion. Oh, I don't know. I think I might have to put Derp's blanket over my legs because I am so cold tonight. I know you're probably thinking, put some more clothes on, man, but we've got to bow to fashion. So let's have some more beer. Cheers, me beers. And hello, Living Soldier. So here we go. Let's crack the. Oh, lovely. Oh, I love that sound. So this is a fresh bottle of the single grain. I've got to say, there are some other scotches in Lidl that I might try next time. There was one I saw tonight, and it was a honey beer. £2 more expensive than this, but have a think about that for next time. Creepy Wee Pub, Dunfermline. The public house, which is a small and cosy establishment, stands on Kirkgate, not far from Abbot House. The pub is said to be haunted by a mischievous bogle, which is reported to have touched with icy fingers. The pub is said to be haunted by a mischievous bogle who is reported to have touched with icy fingers workers in the bar, and also to have murmured in their ears, especially enjoying tormenting new members of staff. Cheers, me beers. What are we up to? 18 minutes. Yeah, we're not quite half time yet. So, Slange. Oh, lovely. I've just noticed I've got my beer mat round the wrong way here. If we're going to do these things, we do them properly. Oops. And then he spills scotch over his hand, for goodness sake. That's what you get for messing around, JM. Oh, that's precious scotch wasted, that. What do you do on Wednesday night? I don't know. I tuned in to watch Sunday Night Ghost Stories Extra, but instead it was a confused man from Dudley spilling scotch everywhere. So, Crichton Castle. Standing above the River Tyne in an open and rugged location, Crichton Castle is a fabulous, ruinous castle dating from the 14th century, but much altered and extended in later centuries. Of special note is the diamond-studded facade of one of the ranges. The castle was held by the Crichtons. Sir William Crichton, Chancellor of Scotland, entertained the young Earl of Douglas and his brother before having them murdered at the Black Dinner in Edinburgh Castle in 1440. Outside the castle are the roofless stables, which are said to be haunted by Crichton. On the anniversary of his death, the story goes, he leaves the stables and enters the castle tower. The Crichtons were forfeited for treason in 1488, and the property later passed to the Hepburns, one of whom was James Hepburn, 4th Earl, the third husband of Mary, Queen of Scots. Mary was present at a wedding here in 1562. Crichton is also said to be haunted by a horseman who enters the castle by the original gate, which is now walled up. Some have suggested that this is the same bogle as that which haunts the stables. Open April to October daily, blah, 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 website address. So what have we got here? So we got Craig. I think we're going to have to play catch up with some of the photographs here. So this is Comlongan Castle, Corgarth Castle, and Coilet Inn. So I think we read them last time. So there they are. And then we have Craig House, Edinburgh, page 86, and Craigneithen Castle, page 87, which I think we read this evening. So there we go. I don't know if you can see them. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, itchy nose. And what are we up to here? Craig's Castle, page 89, and Crichton Castle, page 90. So there we go. It's Craig's Castle and Crichton Castle. No, we are ahead of ourselves here, so we will read these ones when we get to them. I think we'll have a bit more beer. Cheers, me beard. Oh, Sludge. Cromarty Castle. Nothing remains of Cromarty Castle, a once strong castle which may have dated from as early as the 12th century. The property was held by the Urquhart family, who were hereditary sheriffs of Cromarty, and they defended the castle against the English in around 1300, which is 1 o'clock. Thomas Urquhart was a prodigious fellow and is said to have fathered 25 sons here, although 7 of them are believed to have been killed in the Battle of Pinkie in 1547. The Urquharts, however, lost everything as predicted by the Brahans seer, and the property was sold in 1763 to the Murrays and then to the Ross family. They soon demolished the ancient castle, during which, it is said, a large quantity of human bones were recovered, including some headless skeletons, and built Cromarty House, an imposing classical mansion. The old castle was said to be haunted by manifestations such as groans, cries, and moans, and the sightings of apparitions are also recorded. I've got to say that if I was staying somewhere and I heard groans, cries, and moans, I'd be thinking somebody's having a good time, and it's not me. But anyway, what are we up to? 24 minutes. So we'll not quite half time yet. Slange. I do declare we've got some correspondence here. Oh my goodness me, I can't read that out. That is, that's vile. Cross Keys Hotel, Peebles. The Cross Keys Hotel, which was established in 1693, was the townhouse of the Williamsons of Cardrona. The house was built in 1654. One of the innkeepers, Marion Ritchie, who died in 1822, was used by Sir Walter Scott as Meg Dodds in the novel St. Ronan's Well. Marion is said to have run an excellent establishment, but with a rod of iron. Marion's ghost is thought to haunt the building. Disturbances have been reported, including items being moved about without being touched, electrical equipment being switched on and off, glasses broken, unexplained bangs and noises heard. Disturbances have been reported, including items being moved about without being touched, electrical equipment being switched on and off, glasses broken, unexplained bangs, and noises heard. Her apparition is also said to have been seen in the hotel, and bedroom 5, where she died, Her apparition is also said to have been seen in the hotel, and bedroom 5, where she died, is said to be the centre of activity. Ba-ba-bum. On Crow. Do you know what? That's ba-ba-bum. I think that deserves a... That's enough of that. Perhaps that's the thunderclap we should use for the opening title, because I'm sure that's what we're getting the copyright strikes for. It's the thunderclap. despite the fact that the sound effect we use was from a royalty-free website. So I'm afraid it's Facebook algorithms gone mad. I was reading Newsthump today, very funny site, getting into trouble with Facebook because Newsthump do satirical news stories. Facebook's algorithms interpret them as fake news and then take them down. And it's like, oh, for goodness sake, come on. Don't let bots run social media sites. Yeah, anyway, cheers, me beers. Oh, lovely. What are we up to? 27 minutes, right. Cross Keys Inn, Denham. Standing in the pleasant village of Denham by the River Teviot, the attractive whitewashed building was first built in 1800 as a bakehouse, but was later converted to a coaching inn. The Cross Keys is now a fine hotel and bar called the Old Cross Keys Inn. The cellars are said to be haunted by a ghost known as Harry. See, so we've had monks, we've had ghosts of monks, but none of them are called Harry. And then we have the ghost of a ghost called Harry, but he's not a monk. Come on. What are we up to? 28 minutes. Yeah, I think we'll do one more, and then we'll do half time. So cheers, me beers. Slange. Crosskirk, Peebles. Impressive ruins remain of the Crosskirk, a Trinitarian friary, Red Friars, which was founded about 1474, and the place was named following the discovery of a large cross and inscribed stone on the site in 1261. The friary was dedicated to St. Nicholas and was a place of pilgrimage, but was burned by the English in the 1540s. We don't do ourselves any favors, do we? The church was taken over by the parish in 1561 and used until 1784, after which the buildings became ruinous. Much of the late 13th century church survived. Read that again. Got the beer burps, folks. Oh, the beer burps at 30 minutes and 5 seconds. There we go. Let's try it again. I do apologise. Much of the 13th century church survives, however, consisting of the tower, nave, chancel, and sacristy, with later burial aisles. It is said that the burial ground is haunted by the ghost of a lady. The story is that she fell from the tower of the church from a door far up in the building. She fell, or was she pushed? Website, access at all reasonable times, phone number, website address, blah, 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 blah. Right, half time. What to report? Well, we're actually going to have some mini cheddars at the moment because we's gert hungry. Can't even get the blessed mini cheddars out. Oh. No, we're not going to run the dead soldier for that because that's a crisp packet. And we've got the Crinklies oven baked red hot cayenne pepper sauce. This was from last week with a trip into Weston with friend Faye. And she forces me to buy crisps. So I blame her. Right. Let's have a beer and a bump, shall we? Cheers, me beers. It's nice. Oh, right. What have we been up to this week? Well, Wednesdays are usually a 2-reg walk, but Reg decided to do the 2-reg walk yesterday because the weather was better. And you know what? He was right, because all it's done today is, quite frankly, bugger down with rain all day. In fact, I had to pop into that there Weston-super-Mare today, and yeah, it was fairly grim in that there Weston-super-Mare. So anyway, so yesterday was our 2-reg walk, and it was Reg's shout for the venue. So it was his shout for the venue and my shout for the victuals. So he decided that we would do Kongsbury to Rington, which we did about a month ago, but it's one of our favourite walks. So donning our Wellington boots, we strode across the fields. The great thing about wearing your wellies is you don't have to worry about where you put your feet. Now, there's the River Yeo, excuse me, looking quite swollen yesterday. The number of times we've walked along here over the last few months and the water level has been quite low. It's encouraging to see the water really quite high yesterday. So, yeah, I mean, this is effectively the Somerset levels, or the start or the end of the Somerset levels, depending on where you're coming from. But yeah, so it's naturally quite boggy. Boy, is it naturally quite boggy. And there we go. There's the River Yeo with the sun above it. Nice atmospheric photograph. That was an oak tree that we saw about the halfway point. Reg is saying to me, take a photograph of that oak tree. So I'm like, yeah, all right, Reg, I will do. And that's again about the halfway point. That's the River Yeo. Again, quite swollen, which is good because you know, it's showing that the water is running off the fields and doing its job, going into the River Yeo. And there we go, mud, glorious mud. This is why we wore our wellies. Honestly, if we had our walking boots on, we would be in trouble. But no, we could just stride our way through that. So absolutely brilliant. So then we got to the outskirts of Rington. That was a new apple tree that we discovered had been planted. Again, look how water drenched that is. Thank goodness we had our wellies with us yesterday. And then into the Mother Hen gifts and tea room in Rington, where Reg had he actually had a bacon bap, bacon roll rather, which he enjoyed, which is good. I had some carrot cake, and then we decided that we'd do a different route on the way back, and we would do part of the road, which takes you back to about the halfway point. So there is an old telephone box that is now a public library. Brilliant. I love this kind of quirkiness. Absolutely fabulous. And that's one of the bus shelters which has like a potted history of Rington on there as well. Again, I absolutely love this kind of stuff. We don't do this in my town, but they do it elsewhere in Clevedon and the surrounding area. So I think we need to up our game, quite frankly. But there we go. So that's some history of Rington there. That was a nice building, Holbury House rather, that we passed on our walk on the road. Obviously, we were walking on the right-hand side of the road, so we could face the oncoming traffic. And then I saw that, which is actually a Victorian letterbox. Look at that, VR. I was going to mention that earlier on this evening when we were talking about Queen Victoria, but yeah, there we go, a Victorian letterbox. We also came across yesterday Georgian letterboxes as well. So post boxes, letterboxes, call them what you will. And there we go. That was the on the return leg. That was the reverse shot of the River Yo. You can see how swollen that river is. That's Reg, frankly, arsing around. And there we go, the River Yo again. Look how high that water is up the banks. A few weeks ago, it was kind of like quite low, but yeah, that's muddy. And there we are on the what we call the Arnhem Bridge over the River Yo. And that was the sum total of yesterday's walk. So you can see the big detour that we did. We also detoured into the Twisted Oak Brewery, but they just shut for the day. So that was a bummer because I would have bought some beers for tonight. But yeah, there we go. Over 5.5 miles of awesome. And there's Reg and me at the beginning of the walk. So thankfully, he's starting to get his appetite back. His weight has started to go up a bit as well, which is encouraging. And it was just a brilliant walk. I'm glad we did it yesterday because today was an absolute horror show in terms of weather. Like I say, I had to pop into Weston today. Yeah, that was grim. I mean, I quite like Weston-super-Mare when it's raining, but today wasn't one of those days. It was too cold, and yeah. Oh, we got some fan mail here. Let's just read the fan mail. I can't read that out. Goodness me. No, I can't read that out. That is appalling. No, I'm joking. What else to report? That was it. I had a lovely half hour this afternoon with my good friend Laura, who was one of the people who came to visit me when I was ill with the old. So it's always lovely to spend time with Laura. I'm trying to think who else is on my radar this week. I think tomorrow is going to be a solid day of work. I mean, having said that, you're probably thinking, do you ever do any work, JM? Yeah, I work weekends. So I can take the time off during the week. So, and if you're wondering where Derp is, he's in the bedroom on the ottoman right by the radiator. So he's soaking that up at the moment. Right, part deux of tonight's classy entertainment. And what are we drinking for part deux? What do you know? It's the chocolate stout from Aldi, which is absolutely banging stuff. Yet again, with the Rush beer opener from Kirsten and Steve in the States. Thank you very much. For the third time tonight, we're going to have a Dead Soldier. But not, oops, Daisy, not right now. So let's crack on, shall we? Crossraguel Abbey. Crossraguel Abbey was founded in the 13th century by Duncan, Earl of Carrick, and is now a large and impressive ruin with substantial remains of the church, cloister, chapter house, gatehouse, abbot's tower, and some of domestic buildings. The abbey was dissolved at the Reformation. The property was disposed of to Alan Stewart, commendator of the abbey, in 1570. This did not impress Gilbert Kennedy, 4th Earl of Cassilis, whose family had, down the centuries, done much to endow the abbey with lands and property. Kennedy had Stuart roasted in sop at Denner Castle. See that entry. Until Stuart signed over the lands of the dissolved abbey to the Kennedys. The ruins of Crossraguel Abbey are said to be haunted by ghostly monks. Are any of them called Harry? Probably not. Oh gosh, ladies and gentlemen, I am absolutely ravenous tonight. In fact, I'm just having a quick look in the American box here. See, I really don't want to break into that. It's a chocolate coin. It's a JFK chocolate coin, but I really don't want to eat that. What have we got here? Sadly not eatables. They're Star Wars Christmas decorations. Also, courtesy of good friend Tara. These are not sweets. They are bath bombs. Oh, hang about, ladies and gentlemen. We have a candy cane. No, I'm not going to eat that. So, oh, hang about. What's this? What else have we got in here? Oh, we got some socks, Christmas socks. And seeds. So no, nothing else to eat until we go and have some supper. So let's crack on, shall we? Cuckoo Bridge, Castle Douglas. It is thought that the body of a murdered baby was buried in the vicinity of the Cuckoo Bridge, or was cast into the stream over which it passes. Wailing and weeping are said to be heard by people crossing the bridge. Oh, the beer burps again. Wailing and weeping are said to be heard by people crossing the bridge, and occasionally an indistinct apparition, white and shapeless, has also been spotted. Right, let's have some of this chocolate stout from Aldi. God bless you. Oh, that's magnificent. Chocolate stout, smooth and indulgent, brewed in the UK in partnership with Hall & Woodhouse, the well-known 80s pop duo. A rich, indulgent stout featuring luxurious chocolate flavours balanced by notes of roasted malt. 5%. We're not going to say no, boys and girls. And the bump element. So, oh, goodness me, we've drunk the bump element. This is going to be a 3 bumper tonight. Right, Coal Creek Castle. Set in 1,600 acres of parkland below the Fintry Hills, Coal Creek Castle consists of a 15th century keep with later additions. The castle was built by the Galbraiths, whose chiefs lived here for 300 years. The Galbraiths were a lawless lot in medieval times and were noted for their thievery, pillage, burnings, and rapine. Robert, 17th chief, had to sell the property in 1630 because of debt. The fine building is now a hotel and has the largest colony of bats in the UK living in the roof area above the dining room. The Chinese bird room within the old part of the building has hand-painted Chinese wallpaper dating from 1723, which is always 25 minutes past 5, believed to be the only surviving example of this period in Scotland. The castle is reputed to have several ghosts. The Phantom Harper of Cull Creek relates to events believed to have taken place in 1582. One of the Buchanan family was mortally wounded by Robert Galbraith, later 17th chief. The dying man was taken to what is now the Chinese Bird Room, accompanied by his mistress. When he died to comfort herself, she began to play a wire-strung harp, known as a clarsach in Gaelic, and it is said that her soft music has often been heard since, particularly in the dead of night. The music has been reported from this and its adjoining room, and also in the Laird's Hall. There have also apparently been sightings of the phantom of an old woman in the Chinese Bird Room. The apparition of a severed animal head has also reputedly been spotted, which apparently flies around the battlements. Another manifestation is supposedly that of a cold grey mass, about the height and proportions of a human. This has been reported in all areas of the old castle. The lower bar area is also said to be the site of spooky incidents, including people feeling as if they have been touched, gloomy atmospheres, and customers refusing to sit at the end chamber of the bar. A paranormal investigation was undertaken in May 2005 by Spectre, website address, and in 2004 by Ghost Finders, website address, and in November. A paranormal investigation was undertaken in May 2005 by Spectre, website address, and in December 2004 by Ghost Finders, website address, and in January 2005 by the Ghost Club, and in November 2006 by Paranormal Investigation Scotland, website address. Now, the Ghost Club, I really should join that because that's Peter Underwood's lot, and yeah, I'm going to find out how you join the Ghost Club, because frankly, I should be in there. So what are we up to? 49 minutes. Goodness, we've got 10 minutes of this nonsense. 10 minutes of this quality entertainment left. So cheers, me beard. For the third time tonight. Dead soldier.
Oh, it's jolly nice of you. Hello, dead soldier. Seen plenty of those in my time.
Come on, Facebook. Let's have a copyright strike. Come on. I'm up for it. Kalaki House. Kalaki House is a fine mansion rising to 3 stories. Sorry, Kalaki House. Kalaki House is a fine mansion rising to 3 stories and an attic, pink washed and with Corby stepped gables. The mansion stands in a picturesque spot at the beginning of the old military way that went from Fort Augustus south and east over the foreboding Corryalloch Pass. The lands were held by the MacDonalds and by the Macintoshes and later by the Frasers. The house is said to have had a brownie, perhaps a green lady or Graugach. It was held by the Macintoshes. Doesn't say what operating system this was, and by the Frasers, who haven't left the building. No, that's Frazier. That's with a Z. You think I know that? I've got them on DVD. Right, next. Cullen House. Cheers, me beers. Oh. It might even be a 4 bumper tonight. That would be a record. Oh. Cullen House. Said to have 386 rooms, Cullen House is a sprawling mansion which incorporates an old castle. This was long a property of the Ogilvy Earls of Findlater, but has since been divided into flats. The ghost of James Ogilvy, 3rd Earl of Seafield and 6th Earl of Findlater, is said to haunt the building. Although, well, most of the time, the story is that he suffered from uncontrollable rages. And in November 17th century, although, well, most of the time, the story is that he suffered from uncontrollable rages. And in September 1770, apparently murdered his factor in the library during a frenzied episode. In remorse, the Earl committed suicide, reputedly by cutting his own throat in one of the attic rooms. His ghost is said to have been seen, such as in 1943, and footsteps from unoccupied areas, including the stairs, have often been reported, including by journalists in 1964. Manifestations are said to take place mostly in the library and in the pulpit and church rooms. Bum, bum, bum. All the way up to 53 minutes. We've got another 8 minutes. I'm sorry I'm focusing on the time here, folks, but I's girt starving, and I've got a brilliant supper set out downstairs. I've also got Mandy to watch on catch up. I have been watching the last 2 series. Now I feel that I need to go back to the pilot and the very first series. So we do like a bit of Mandy. We do like a bit of Diane Morgan. So Diane, if you're watching, cheers, me dears. Diane, if you're watching, come on, man. Oh, in the magnificent United Federation of Planet Shot Glass again, Kirsten and Steve, United States. Cheers, me dears. Oh, lovely. Culloden House. Culloden House, dating mostly from 1772 to 83, incorporates the cellars of a 17th century tower house and is set in 40 acres of parkland. It was a property of the Forbes family. Duncan Forbes of Culloden was a Hanoverian who fought with Butcher Cumberland at the Battle of Culloden Moor. Also see that entry. Many wounded Jacobites were brought here after the battle against Forbes' wishes, but his protests were ignored and here shot. Those who were not killed outright had their skulls bashed in with musket butts. The house is now used as a hotel. The house is reputedly haunted by the ghost of Bonnie Prince Charlie, although this is disputed. The apparition of a man dressed in tartan is said to have been witnessed on several occasions in the passages, bedrooms, and lounge. If it is Bonnie Prince Charlie, in the words of the late great Tony Hancock, he gets around a bit. Right. I think I can see our exit point. So cheers, me beers. It's going to be a 4 bumper tonight, folks. Actually, we might have some of the Beeble. We'll shake that up a bit. Yeah, we'll have some of the Beeble. It's a bit sweet and it's not quite to my liking. But what the heck? Oh, the beer burps again. Do apologise. So that's the Beeble. Oh, God, come on. Get him out, bloke. Get him out, lad. I mean, the burps, that is. Culloden Moor. It was here on the bleak and windswept moor of Drummosey that on the 16th of April 1746 the Jacobite army of Bonnie Prince Charlie was crushed by Hanoverian forces led by the Duke of Cumberland, the last major battle fought on British soil. The Jacobites were tired and hungry, and the Hanoverians had a better equipped and larger army. The battle turned into a rout, and many Jacobites were slaughtered. Sites of interest include Old Leenack Cottage, Graves of the Clans, Well of the Dead, Memorial Cairn, Cumberland Stone, and Field of the English. The visitor centre has a Jacobite and historical exhibition and an interesting audio-visual programme. It is said that many have witnessed visions of the battle or apparitions, especially from the Well of the Dead and the clan memorials. The descendants of those killed here are supposedly particularly sensitive to such visions. The car park at the battlefield was voted the most haunted car park in a survey in 2005 by AA Insurance. Site open all year. Visitor centre open all year, daily except 24th to 26th of December and the 1st and 2nd of Jan. Phone number and website address. What are we up to? 59 minutes. Oh, goodness me. We're rapidly coming towards the end of tonight's quality entertainment. So cheers, me beers. Right, we're going to get to the bottom of page 90. Yeah, we are going to get to the bottom of page 97 tonight. So Culross Abbey. Situated in the pretty town of Culross, the Cistercian Abbey was dedicated to Saint Cerf and Saint Mary and was founded in 1217 by Malcolm, Earl of Fife. The abbey was dissolved at the Reformation and most of the buildings are ruinous, except the monks' choir, which has also been used as the parish church since 1633. The remains of the domestic buildings are open to the public. A piper is said to have been sent to explore a tunnel, the entrance to which was at the abbey, and which reputedly led to piles of gold and silver. The piper and his dog set off from a vault at the head of Newgate, followed above ground by the locals. But when they reached West Kirk, some distance away, the pipes suddenly stopped. The piper was never seen again, although it is said that the faint sound of pipes can be heard at times. Historical Scotland, open all year at reasonable times. Parish church open all year, phone number and website. Right, last three for tonight, and then that'll be it. Cheers, me beers. Oh, Culross Palace. Also in the village of Culross is Culross Palace, a fine, sprawling building dating from between 1597 and 1611. The complex consists of ranges of gabled yellow-washed buildings with old decorative paintwork and original interiors, as well as an unusual steeply terraced garden. The palace was built for St. George. The palace was built for Sir George Bruce of Carnock, who made a fortune from coal mining. But about 1700 it passed to the Erskines. The building has been restored by the National Trust for Scotland. Some stories have parts of the building being haunted, and manifestations are said to include people feeling as if they have been pushed, and unpleasant and foreboding feelings in the building. National Trust of Scotland, open early April, May, Sunday to Thursday, closed Monday to Wednesday, June, August, daily, September to October, Sunday to Thursday, closed Monday to Wednesday. Phone number, website. A paranormal investigation was undertaken in July 2003 by the Ghost Club. Website address. I think we are going to join the Ghost Club. Right. Last for tonight. We have just gone through the hour mark. Oh my goodness me, ladies and gentlemen. So Slange. Goodness me, that tastes a bit sweet. Cultoke, the picturesque baronial mansion of Cultoke, standing in a fine position overlooking the Ochil Hills, dates from 1820, which is 20 minutes past 6, and replaced an earlier house and a castle. The lands were held by the Maxtone family from 1410 or earlier, and Robert Maxtone of Culcohy was killed at the Battle of Flodden in 1513. The family later read that again. The family, later Maxtone Graham, held the property until 1955 when it was sold. The building is now used as a guest house. Kate McNiven, who was burnt after being accused of witchcraft, reportedly made a prophecy about the Maxtones. When a gleg-eyed, sharp or eagle-eyed laird was born, a treasure would be found at Cultoke. The house is said to be haunted by the bogle of a woman clad in an old-fashioned frock and reportedly spotted entering one chamber where she disappears. Blah. That's just website stuff there, blah. Right. Last bit for tonight, folks. Last story for tonight. Goodness me, we need to do this because we've just gone past 2112, a great album by the Canadian Gods Rush. There we go. That is literally 2112 there. That's the Starman from 2112. So that tastes a bit weird tonight. That tastes slightly different. We'll investigate that. So, Culzean Castle, one of the foremost attractions in Scotland, and pronounced Culzean. Let's try it again. Culzean Castle, one of the foremost attractions in Scotland, and pronounced Culzean. Culzean Castle is a magnificent, sprawling, castellated mansion of the Kennedys, Earls of Castillis. Cassilis. It was built between 1777 and 1792 by the architect Robert Adam, and is now in the care of the National Trust of Scotland. It was built between 1777 and 1792 by the architect Robert Adam, and is now in the care of the National Trust for Scotland. There are caves in the cliffs below the castle. A ghostly piper is said to herald a Kennedy marriage and to play on stormy nights. His apparition has reportedly been seen in the grounds, particularly on a drive known as Piper's Brae and near the ruinous Collegiate Church. Well, we'll have another run up at that. A ghostly piper is said to herald a Kennedy marriage and to play on stormy nights. His apparition has reportedly been seen in the grounds, particularly on a drive known as Piper's Brae and near the ruinous Collegiate Church. The piper is said to have been exploring caves beneath the castle when he disappeared. Two other ghosts supposedly haunt the castle. One, a young woman dressed in a ball gown. Sightings of an indistinct apparition in one of the passages were reported in 1972 by 3 independent witnesses, servants who were working in the castle at the time. Another apparition has reportedly been seen several times on the main stair, one incident being in 1976 when 2 visitors saw a peculiar misty shape. There are tales of a white lady said to be the spirit of a mistreated servant. Website address. Open April to November daily. Country Park and Wall Garden opened all year daily. Phone number, website address. A paranormal investigation was undertaken in February 2005 by Ghost Finders. Website address. Featured in Living TV's Most Haunted Series 1, 2002. Goodness me. Right, that's it for tonight. So next time we're up to Dalhousie Castle. That's the thing I'm really disappointed about with Most Haunted, is that the late Derek Okora has not come back as a ghost. So if you're watching, Derek, I do apologize for being so cynical, but cheers, me beers. Oh, lovely. Slange. Oh, hang about. I was wondering why the single grain scotch was tasting a bit funny. Then I remembered that I'd substituted it for the Beeble. So that's why. Right, that's it for tonight. Goodness me, you've had your money's worth. We are ending on 1 hour and 11 minutes. Fingers crossed, we'll be back on Friday for, brace yourselves, Sunday Night Ghost Stories Extra on a Friday. Until then, it behoves me to say thank you for watching. Why? Why not? What else are you going to do? Oh, the beer burps again. What else are you going to do on a Wednesday evening towards the end of February than watch a confused man from Dudley with holes in his head drink ghost stories, and read alcohol. Come on, folks, you can do better. I can't. I am trapped in this. I'm trapped to do this. But anyway, until the next time, until Friday, as ever, thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay out of trouble, and please don't have nightmares. Good night.